Hi fellow sports fans, I'm Dave Hornfischer, a fellow sports fan yourself. I'm excited to welcome you to our new sports talk program on Access Framingham TV. We call it Framingham Fan to Fan. Our show features people who are engaged in providing sports programs and events in Framingham. Our goal is to give greater visibility to their efforts, to foster both greater participation, but especially fan support. You know, going to a professional event in Boston is fun, but it's expensive, it's logistically difficult to get to, and who needs to support impersonal millionaires? You know, I never really knew Big Papi or even Tom Brady. My guest today is Paul Spear, recently named athletic director at Framingham High. Paul served as the interim director last year after serving as the boys hockey coach since 1999. He's also had an administrative role in the school running the Academic Development Center. Paul, it's great to have you on our show today and talk to you about Framingham High School sports.
Thank you, Dave.
Maybe we could just begin. You could just tell me a little bit about what the job's all about. I think you mentioned to me 27 sports.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of varsity sports at Framingham High School, and then you combine with the sub-varsity sports down to the freshman teams, and you're talking about a whole lot of administrative responsibilities and a whole lot of scheduling and a whole lot of logistical things in terms of making sure people get where they need to be with transportation, fields, and so it's there's a lot of stuff that's involved in the job, and I'm glad I get an opportunity to do stuff like this because this is my favorite part of the job, promoting our programs, our kids, and what we do. So.
Right, yeah, that's you probably had to have a course in juggling before you got to do this.
Well,
just tell me a little bit about what your day is like. I mean,
the days are long. There's no question about it. I mean, you wake up in the morning and it's like a lot of people. You go to the office and you expect to get this, and this done, and all of a sudden, 15 other things are piled on your plate. But the best part of my day, I get to go watch kids compete, watch our teams compete, talk with our student athletes. Be around sports all day. We keep TV in the office and we keep ESPN on all day, so to keep a nice sports theme going during the school day. But the best part of my day is getting out, watching the competitions.
Sure.
I get to meet a lot of parents, a lot of people in town who are really supportive of Framingham athletics, and guys like yourself, guys who've been in Framingham for a long time, people who are fans and love our sports programs and want to see the kids represent the town the right way. So, my days are spent most of the time in the morning. We're in the office, making sure that everything for the afternoon is going to run smoothly. And during the winter, I'm going 6, maybe 7 days a week because we've got games on Saturdays, competitions on Saturdays, and so it's a real busy job. And a guy, Bob Marusi, who used to run the Park and Recreation Department. Sure. When I took the job, Bob said, "It's really not a job; it's a lifestyle," and he was 100% right. That's what it is. It's a lifestyle. So, you live the job, and that's fine by me because it's.
Your energy and your enthusiasm for it comes through already in 2 minutes here of talking. But you mentioned the number of kids that are involved in sports, and you just at the high school level in Framingham. Yeah. What was it, 600 or something?
We have approximately 600 registered for fall sports now. Wow. I'm glad to say our football program has near 100 kids registered right now, which is a great start for us. We'd like to even see more involved. We've got close to 40 freshmen coming out for football. Those are great numbers, and we need to retain those kids. We need to keep those kids playing, keep them interested. And the other thing we need to do is get those kids playing other sports. We really, really want to see our best athletes playing multiple sports. So, it's not sometimes always the number of kids, but, the quality of the athletes. And if we have good athletes who are playing football, we want to see them wrestling. And if they're wrestling, we want to see them doing outdoor track, doing shot put. So we want to see them carry over.
Well, I think on this show, this is now we're taping this at the end of summer, and I think I'd like to focus mostly on the fall sports. Maybe we'll have you and some of your coaches back with we can talk about basketball and ice hockey, which I suspect is closer to your heart. Just to touch base, Paul was the ice hockey coach here for a long time, and probably and I know that's ice hockey has been one of Framingham's best sports as a fan.
Sure. Yeah, well, we always have great players.
And is great, and is that because of the great feeder system that we have?
Yeah, we have a great youth hockey program, a strong youth hockey program. We have a great arena in town. Loring Arena is a municipal arena, one of the only ones in the state. We're really blessed to have that.
And now being fixed up.
Now being fixed up with a beautiful renovation. Our kids are going to have good facility for the foreseeable future. And anyone who wants to play hockey in Framingham, if you ask me, they're crazy not to play at Framingham High School.
Right.
To go elsewhere to play hockey, to me, is just nonsensical. But because you have a great coach in Will Ortiz, you have a great coaching staff with the guys he brought in, and just a great opportunity to play 15 minutes from school, 10 minutes from school.
Right.
Our crowds are great on every Saturday night, so it's easy to run that program. And when I got it, it was really good, and I'm glad to say I think we kept it at a pretty high level. And with the team making the state finals last year, I know we're positioned well for the future. But you mentioned fall sports. I'm really looking forward to this fall, I got to tell you, because we've got a lot of exciting things going on.
Well, the fall sport that obviously is most visible is football, and I've lived in Framingham since 1984, and I'm not sure that I could count 10 winning seasons that we've had here if I looked at Framingham South, and I could be cheating a little bit, but let's face it, Framingham hasn't been a football power, and you said you've got a new coach coming on this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you this: there's nothing that it really kind of gets me fired up when I hear people, when they I know our program hasn't had a lot of wins, and that's something we want to fix. That's something we're going to make right, and that's something that I take personal pride in seeing this through to make our program what it should be. And I know what people say. They say with all the kids we have in that school, there's got to be enough talent to win some football games.
Right.
And that, I've lived in town all my life, so I know what people say. And I've also been at the school to see that, hey, we need to, not only do we need to do better, we need to do better getting kids out for that team. We need to get our best athletes convinced that they should play football. That's what we need in town. We don't need our best athletes, our hockey players, our lacrosse players, our wrestlers, our baseball players saying, well, I'm just going to play baseball, or I'm just going to play hockey. We got to get them out in the fall, get them on the field, and get them playing football. We got to get the kids committed. Coach Manti, our new coach Ed Manti, he's done a wonderful job, him and his coaching staff, of getting the kids committed to getting in the weight room, to working out, to exercising, to being ready, to making good choices in the off season. And so far, every indication is that we're going to win some football games this year. And to me, I want to see us not only win a few games this year, I want to see us consistently win at the sport of football. That's what I want to see us do. And I want to see us go from people saying, well, we're not a football town. We've got one of the most beautiful stadiums, if not the most beautiful stadium in the state.
Right.
And there's no excuse for us to not transform this into a consistent winner in the sport of football.
Well, on a station like AFTV, and one of the goals of this show is to generate more fan interest, because I think in many ways, if the community support, it's a vicious circle. And if the community gets out, like in Texas, my son's family lives in Austin, Texas, and the schools down there, it's a religion, high school football. And in a town like Framingham, where in many ways I think we're becoming a city and we're looking to create more local pride, I think the high school football team hasn't, for all the warts that football has with concussions, and one can be critical of it, it's still it's still kind of a flagship sport that I think in many ways, if the football team is good, the local community will support it. And of course, the worst thing would be to have a great team that nobody supported. And in some ways, if the community supported it, I suspect young kids would want to play more. Isn't there a connection there somehow?
Well, I mean, obviously, we want to see good crowds every night. And I can tell you, having seen the last couple years, particularly last year, at the very beginning of the season, people were there.
Right.
They showed up, and unfortunately, when you don't have success, let's face it, the reality is people want to be associated with winning teams. When our volleyball team won the state championship a few years ago, there were 500 people from Framingham in a gym at Concord Carlisle watching a volleyball game.
That's fantastic.
Because they want to be associated, they want to see the team win, they want to be a part of success. And so, as the season went on last year and the team didn't succeed, wins and losses on the field, I think there were a lot of wins off the field. I think, the experience was great for a lot of the kids in terms of, having a wholesome experience. But for fan support, people want to see the team have success, and then they show up.
Let's just talk a little bit about some of the other fall sports.
Sure.
You probably have a great women's soccer and men's soccer program. It seems to me that I'm not a big soccer fan, but I think I've read their success has been better there, and you probably have big numbers in those sports, I would think.
Huge numbers for boys and girls soccer. Just we have JV and freshman teams at both levels. Historically, our women's soccer team has been unbelievable. They've run on hard times the last couple of years. And now, we're seeing increasing competition from clubs. So we're working hard to retain all of our players. It's one of the most important things we can do is retain the talent that we have in the town to play for us. And if you ask me, that's what kids should be doing, is playing high school sports. We're in the process of building that program. I really foresee it getting very good in the next couple of years.
Framingham is such an international community. I would think there's probably a lot of young people here who are really more in tune to soccer. At least their parents are, anyway.
Yeah, I get a lot of emails from kids who are saying, I want to register for soccer, but I'm still in Brazil and I'm coming back soon because they go on vacation with their families and and then they come back. But we have a really great. There's no team. I don't think in Framingham High School that represents what our population, what our city, the demographic, the diversity. No team represents it better than soccer, and that's a great thing because you have kids who are, who come from all over, and we go to play other places, and sometimes it's tough on our guys because they're from other countries, and sometimes they hear things from the stands that are unfortunate.
Really?
And but you know what? They got a lot of pride playing for Framingham, and our team has been unbelievable. And since I've been at Framingham High School, we've been in the state finals twice with our boys soccer team. Unfortunately, neither time we came away with the gold, but we're always successful. Our league is incredibly tough. Soccer is we're a real competitive team in that sport.
Okay, so football is Friday night. When is soccer?
They play on Tuesdays, and then it varies a little bit, but generally they play.
Is it a weeknight or a week afternoon?
Yeah, they play right over at Framingham High School in the afternoon.
Is there any?
If the boys are away, the girls are at home. And if anyone wants to take a look at any of our schedules, I would recommend go to flyerathletics.com. Get that little plug in there. You go to flyerathletics.com and you can go right on and you can find our schedules every single day. We're in the process. We really want a lot of people to go to flyerathletics.com. You'll also can get our weekly. We're going to send a weekly out through FPS. We're going to have a weekly schedule. And we also have a Facebook page, Flyer Athletics Facebook page, and we have a Twitter account. So
this is a good time to remind people watching on AFTV that our sister station, the high school station, which is on RCN, I know it's channel 15. I forget the other stations, but that probably has a lot more information about Framingham sports than what you're going to find anyplace else, right?
Yeah, they do a great job broadcasting games and taping games for us, and that TV station's invaluable to our athletic department. We'll try to get your schedules here more. I think that's a good goal to have, is to have these on PSAs with the schedules every week. Absolutely.
And what's happening in Framingham sports for the fans here. I think the high school stations focus really more on your student body.
Yep.
But 70,000 people in Framingham that all could be fans. What'd you do if you had 70,000 people out at Bowditch some night or Tuesday afternoon over watching a soccer game?
It is unbelievable sometimes when you're at a sporting event and you're thinking there's 70,000 people in this town. Imagine if we could get 8,000 to show up at a football game. Imagine, if we could get 500 to show up at a basketball game on Friday night, And it would be great. It's something that this town, this city, I think really could use is more people coming to local sporting events and seeing other people going out to a local restaurant and then all heading to a game.
You need to get the Dave Hornfischers there. That's what you do.
That's what we're hoping for.
And so you got to sell it to me. Okay?
Yeah, well, we got season passes this year for $25. You can get a season pass. Go to every football game. Go to every basketball game. You can call us in the office and we can hook you up with it.
I'm a taxpayer. I already paid for it. Shouldn't it be free? There's a reason I'm the treasurer of this station. You're talking. I shouldn't have laid that. Tell me a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the cost of sports here, because that's an issue that I think is important. Is that the fees and some people have said that the fees for sports aren't fair. that there's not fees and other activities at the school. I understand you've lowered the cost this year.
Yeah, I mean, with the help of the school committee, Ricky Finley's really spearheaded the thing. He's really been a big help with it. And I know the other school committee members have been very supportive as well. But we have lowered the fee at one time, $225 to $110, now to $100. And philosophically, I really feel as though the fee should be zero. I think if we are really going to say that athletics is part of education, then it is important for our people in our city to recognize that if a student athlete wants to play a sport, that they shouldn't have to pay for it.
And if the fans in Framingham were to get down there on Friday night and you were to get 5,000 people, each of whom paid $5 or $10, we could eliminate some money.
We could eliminate the fees in a heartbeat.
Well, see, there you go. And the other thing is, I mean,
Framingham.
Let's go watch these kids play, okay?
And the other thing about the fees is, I mean, really, if you're a coach and you have kids paying, they're paying to play. And I think our city should say, you know, I've heard it everywhere I go. People say we want competitive teams. We want to win. We want our teams to be better. And for coaches, it's very difficult when kids pay a user fee. It becomes a pay-to-play situation where you feel obligated, you know, to get, you know, certain people in the game, and it just muddies the waters. I mean, I said to you earlier when we were just talking about this, you know, before we started taping, if a kid went in to take a chemistry lab and got charged $25, they'd look at the teacher like, "Are you crazy?" You know, if a kid went into a class, you know, to do it, and they said, "Listen, you can do the history project. We're gonna like start it out over here, but you have to pay $50." It would be that people would think that was insane. So why we have kids participate in cross country and baseball and lacrosse and swimming, and we decide that it's okay to charge them, to me, it just doesn't make sense. If we're considering it important, something that we want our kids to represent our town, why are we asking them to represent our town and then charging them? I think hopefully we'll see the day where that goes away.
And the role of sports in a young person's education. I mean, my granddaughter played volleyball down in Austin, and this was part of her curriculum. She had a class in volleyball, and and so. But I mean, you know,
I look at the part of it, Dave, where there's kids whose sports have saved their lives because you know their involvement in the team, the people they met through the team, the network they made. It saved their life because they could have gotten involved in a whole lot of other things. And let's face it, there's a lot of stuff going on out in the streets that kids can get involved in. And if we can get them hooked into school, if we can use athletics as the thing that connects them to the school, and then they concentrate in their academics as well, it can change their life. And that's what we're after. That's the thing, the connection we're trying to make with athletics. And that's why we should eliminate the fees and make this accessible to everybody.
And that's why Framingham people should come down and watch your games.
Absolutely.
One of the other ways that you are raising some money, I saw this week, and this will be after the show is on. There's various car washes and things that your teams do and things like that. But I know you're having a big golf tournament in September.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate at Framingham High School. The Framingham High School Foundation, they run the Salute to Framingham and a variety of other. They do during the holiday time. They do a holiday marketplace at Framingham High School. They run that. It's an all-day event, and so we've had some great people involved in that Framingham High School Foundation. But this year, because the user fee got dropped again, our budget definitely gets whacked when you take away the user fee money.
Sure.
So Jim Kelly came to me, and him and I kind of talked about it for a while. And years back, Lou Maloney ran a tournament for Framingham for the athletic department. So we decided to try and revive that. So September 25th at 1 p.m. at the Framingham Country Club, we're going to have our tournament. We've already got a primary sponsor. Mutual One came up big and donated $10,000 to us to be the primary sponsor. Absolutely.
They're one of our banks here.
Yeah, talk about a local business coming through. This was huge.
Yeah. And so that's going to be September 25th. And so, look, I'm a golfer, and I'm not a great one, but how do you sign me up?
If you go to flyerathletics.com, all the instructions are there, or you can get a hold of Jim Kelly. But everything is on Flyer. He's a dad and a school committee member, and an all-around good guy for running this. Helping run this golf tournament. But if you go to flyerathletics.com, the registration information is on there.
Flyerathletics.com.
Yeah.
And is there a deadline?
As of right now, we haven't established a deadline.
So if I just show up with my golf bag, you won't chase me away?
We're going to have to. I think we're probably going to be sold out. We're hoping to be sold out.
And this includes more than just 18 holes of golf.
18 holes of golf, a beautiful dinner. Jim's put together a pretty good day.
And the unique thing about this is being held at the Framingham Country Club. Now, most average people in Framingham and average golfers don't get to play that course. That's a pretty spectacular facility.
Yeah, it's a really spectacular facility.
It is.
I was up there just last year. As a kid, I used to shine the clubs up there, but I hadn't been there in a while. Went up there last year. Our golf team was fortunate enough to have a few matches, and with the sale of Millwood, we're really hoping that Framingham Country Club will be able to host us for some more golf matches in the near future. But yeah, it's a real great opportunity to go play that course, and hopefully a lot of alumni and see some people that you haven't seen in a while, and really generate some community support around athletics. That's the whole theme of it.
That'd be great. That's another way. We touched on football and soccer. Did I leave out a fall sport? Is there lacrosse? Is that a fall sport?
Lacrosse is in the springtime.
Okay. What are any other fall sports?
Yeah, I mean, swim and dive. Our swim and dive, coached by Mike Foley, has been unbelievable.
What facility do you use for that?
We use Keefe Tech. Keefe Tech.
Oh, Keefe Tech has a great pool.
We just bought touch pads for the team this year. I went over there last year. Had never been to a swim meet. Realized that parents were determining the matches with stopwatches and writing the names down of the winners. Yeah, so we just got touch pads for the swim team. We're hoping to connect them to a scoreboard, so when I walk in, I can see what's going on. See who's winning the meet, and you can watch it in real time. Whereas you couldn't do that before. Our field hockey team is looking for looking to have a great season. Yeah, I mean, we also have cross country in the fall. No cut sports. Anyone who wants to play a sport can go out and join the cross country team. Some of the finest kids in the school are members of the cross country team. Golf, as I mentioned.
Golf is a fall sport and a spring.
It is. Golf is a fall sport.
Oh, okay.
And then in the springtime, there's tournaments, the ladies tournament.
And losing Millwood means you'll play golf where?
Well, we're hoping Framingham Country Club. This last year, we were able to play at Millwood. I really wish the town had gone in a different direction and picked up Millwood, because it really would have been a huge benefit to the high school. But we're really relying on, hopefully, Framingham Country Club.
That's a much tougher course.
Yeah. It's a much tougher course to get on, too.
Yeah, well, I know that both ways.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about Framingham sports, and I know one of the things of this show, if you look around, I mean, I'm a real sports fan. I can't get a Framingham sports person on without talking a little bit about the Boston picture.
Sure.
And since you're a hockey coach, let's talk about the Bruins. What's the problem there?
Oh,
I mean, or is that too tough of a question? I mean, I have my opinion, but
I'm looking over here, David. It says 3:46 left for us. I don't think I would have enough time to tell you what's wrong with what we got left. But how about not enough good players? But they showed a lot of improvement last year.
I have two words that I'd define it as: Jeremy Jacobs.
Well, yeah. I mean,
the Red Sox, when they got the new ownership group, the Patriots, when they got Bill Belichick. Any sports program, people call it sports, but at the end of the day, I think it's management.
Yeah.
And,
Dave, I'm still mad at the Bruins for firing Don Cherry. How about that?
Okay. Don had a most famous line ever, but we can't say it on Framingham TV. But no, and it comes down to the management. And when you look for a coach, I think the Bruins have a good coach. I wouldn't call that their problem right now.
Not right now. Yeah.
But I think coaching does make a difference. And
oh, it's absolutely true. It makes a difference. There's no question about it. I think coaching at any level, makes a difference. If you have coaches who are there for the players, have good relationships, know the sport really well, can communicate it really well, can teach, set a good example, there's no question that they'll provide a better experience.
I mean, the leading example of that is certainly Bill Belichick. Is there anything that he does that you think you want to use in your own way? He just runs his organization in such a sharp way. I mean, the rest of the country probably hates him, but I mean, he's certainly one of my heroes in the business. And in terms of from basic stuff like just do your job, which we all hear, to other kinds of things.
Bill Belichick has it figured out. I mean, to me, the one thing he does the best is keep his players in the moment. No better evidence than the Super Bowl. But there's so many times that they've been behind and come back. He keeps his players in the moment. They play one play at a time, and they've got it figured out. And they've got it down pat. The psychological pieces of the sport, they've got them down, and they've got it figured out. And it's something. Tom Brady, I think, has it figured out too. And it's one of the things that you have to teach and teach and teach and teach. You know, being mentally tough, disciplined, and staying in the moment. Again, you know, you watch them highlight videos of that Atlanta Falcons, and you're just like, this is incredible that they didn't start yelling at each other. They didn't get down. They weren't concerned with anything. Just make the next play, and look what it added up to.
I absolutely love that thought in the moment. I mean, you know, talk about lessons that a sports program can teach young people.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's so true in so many other aspects of life. I don't care whether you're selling hamburgers at Burger King or whether you're a CFO somewhere.
Well,
I think you know.
I spent the morning talking to one of our players and his family, and that was the whole theme of our discussion was you're learning life lessons through sports.
Yes.
That's what we're doing here, and that's what people who support Framingham sports, support kids playing athletics. That's what it's all about, is getting these kids getting good life lessons learned through playing a sport. That's what this is all about, and that's what we're trying to do at Framingham High School.
Paul, I'm sorry we have to wrap this up at this point, but it's really been terrific talking to you. I just love your energy. I love your insights into sports. I think you're a great example to the Framingham community of somebody who's ready to take on a job. You've done it as a successful hockey coach, and this now to be city. I think really needs to think about the ways in which we as fans within the city really can look at Framingham sports. Okay, well, let's fly 'em Flyers until I get a better one. Paul, it's been great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. This was
All right.
terrific.